Yeah, we can go. Hello again on another block chat, and this block chat is the last block chat of our year this year. So it's with Denis Petrovcic, Julia, and Makram Hani. Today, what we will be doing is we'll be recapping the whole year. You have the CEO, CMO, and COO of Blocksquare, the leading in asset tokenization globally today, and asset tokenization infrastructure, because what we do is we empower you to tokenize your market, to launch your marketplace, and to tokenize property locally where you live and where you have an edge. Dennis, Julia, how are you?
I'm very well. A bit under the weather, as you can hear, but I guess that's kind of after the whole year what we've achieved and done. I think that's kind of the result a bit. Julia, how are you?
Yeah, very well as well. Thank you. It's been a couple of busy days celebrating Christmas and just organizing everything, but we had a great time over here. And yeah, we're already at the end of the year. It's been busy.
How have this year been for you, Julia? You play a major role in what we do, and part of what you do is take care of the community, make sure that communication is progressive to the community, as well as you've been involved in multiple channel partnerships and multiple activity outside that. How has it been? And what would we have as learnings from what have happened through the past year?
I would say, let's start at the beginning. We launched Ocean Point in February this year, and with that, we also started our community channels basically on Discord. We started to launch that. We started to get really more active in Telegram as well. We started regular social media marketing as well. So we basically started to engage our community more and also let them participate more in a learning curve, I would say, about real estate tokenization. And because our goal is as well that they really understand what they're doing and that they really understand what we are doing. And I think for everyone, our community as well as for us, it's pretty much a learning curve every single day. The space is moving fast, and we all have to keep up with it. So that basically over the last since February until now, we launched several community marketing campaigns where we invite our community to really be an active part, to research, to write blogs, create videos, and really create content by community for community, and not only basically what we provide to them, because there's a big difference if you want to learn something. The biggest learning curve is when you really dig into it and do it and do your research, and then you write it up what you basically just learned. So I think that's quite an effective way to integrate them and really let them think about what we're doing there, and especially how Ocean Point and Blocksquare basically work in detail. And of course, we have been to several conventions, you guys in Europe and in Dubai, and on my side, and Australia, and in Thailand, and yes, we've been around. We've come around a lot as well, I guess.
Guys, today we'll be asking very difficult questions that will be tough for anyone usually to answer. And we are sure that those questions are asked by members of the community and beyond every day. Yeah. So similar to, and I'll come back to Julia with this question after I go to Dennis. Why, guys, don't you grow a 100,000 people community? Why aren't you marketing progressively to do so? And those are questions that members of the community ask. Why aren't you on a centralized exchange? Why aren't you creating some hype around the BST token? All of those are questions that are asked, some of which are asked and usually no one finds answers for, officially at least. Today we'll get official answers for. Let me go to Denis. Julia, I'll come back to you with some very difficult questions. Denis, by the way, whenever I'm putting Julia on spotlight, Denis is going to reestablish reestablish his voice and come back onto screen. And I'm happy about that. Yeah. Denis, we've had few years now of development. Those few years had a crypto winter, a crypto summer, a crypto spring. It had an NFT boom. It had an NFT crash. It had uh, huge events and big um, mess ups that have taken place in several parts of the world, some of which do affect the perception of the technology that we use and build on and depend on, which is blockchain and distributed ledger technology in general. And some others are related directly, probably, to some of the use cases of fungible tokens, non-fungible tokens, and how do they interact with the world. And today, everyone is at a position where they're re-looking at how they think of technology, how they think of processes, how they think of legislation. Legislators are looking to legislate more. All of this is happening today. Yet I want to start with you beginning of this year on to the end of this year. This year has started where there was a crypto boom, if I would say, and we want it or we don't, crypto impacts where we stand indirectly most of the time. And then we ended the year with so much happening in the interim. What have we learned this year? Describe, please, your experience as someone leading an organization that is, in general, till date, self-funded, because the idea was that it's fundamentally built properly, and at the same time, an organization that's building infrastructure for the future. So we're taking long shots. It's no short shots with very fast successes in front of us. Um, Describe that, please, and if you can tell us more about what do you feel usually when you wake up in the morning and you want to head for a regular working day. At the same time, how are events affecting us, and why would you believe what happened, what could have been positive or negative to us and anyone building like us? Sorry, it's a very long question. Let's hope that you can capture all of it. If you can't, I'll drop in with other parts and pieces of the question again.
Uh, I think I can try and capture the whole thing. The question is, will my voice be able to still be there? So maybe we'll need to split it into two parts. Just to make sure, do you hear me well? Because my voice is a bit down today.
We hear you perfectly. We see you
right.
perfectly. Actually, this is the best we've ever heard you. So
Thank you very much. Yeah. So I think it's like we've been building this for quite some time, like you said, and we've taken it at different paces, right? And when we started, we took extra time to research the topic even more than usually. But that was the times of ICOs in 2017, and that, in a way, we did the right thing, but we missed maybe a major fundraising event at the time, or with the timing, I would say. But nonetheless, this made us be, from its core, built up as a startup. So this bootstrapping kind of mentality was there from the beginning. It required us, the co-founders, basically, to put up more resources into Blocksquare of our own that we thought at the beginning. So it created a more vested core team at the time, but it also required us to gather much more or centralize more, let's say, expertise, or before implementation we had to research more. And I think this is kind of the ethos that is still present today. Is like everything we do, we really try to make sure to understand the implications, and we understand that implementing something just for the sake of implementation is not the right way to go. And in a way, I think this reflects as well in the community building part. And Julia is probably the right person here to join me in this in this part of the conversation, where you asked why are you guys not building and pushing to just grow the community, and I think we are growing the community in a very good way, in a very proper way. The thing is, when you let in, or not let in, but when you start addressing more generally the public, most probably the tokenomics, at least from my perspective, the tokenomics need to be strongly implemented, so that no matter how the consumer, or let's say the token holders are reacting, the tokenomics basically overcome those reactions. And that's really hard. That's probably a thing that even Bitcoin is not able to actually mitigate those risks. So it's not really easy to create that type of token ecosystem. But I believe that with the scope of Blocksquare, we're actually able to be one of the projects that can do that can achieve this, because of the nature of the underlying asset class. So for us, going right now and saying, okay, let's grow from a couple thousand to a couple or 100,000 people involved on a daily basis, that would sound great, but what type of people, how will they understand what we have actually built, or we are in the process of building? And that's probably going to hurt, or might create a bigger drop. I was looking, for instance, at certain token projects, what happened from where we are today in terms of pricing, and where they were in terms of at the peak of this last bull cycle. And there's big drops in value that happen. And of course, there's a big drop in value with ours as well, but I think it's not as major as in other projects. Some actually are still in a positive overall end result, even though we're in a bear market, right? So I think the fundamentals of how we're building Blocksquare are built on certain core values that kind of organically happened, and they happen by chance. And I think this is something that we're embracing now, and trying to still keep as its core in the future. I hope that just like we build the team throughout this year, we're able to increase the team next year, that we'll be able to bring even more quality into our group of people. We had several people join this year, and that's Dite, our head of DeFi. He's bringing a lot of oversight in terms of Ocean Point development, a lot of experience in it as well as leadership. We brought in
getting so much, by the way, exposure as well. Dite is like an ambassador who's working with he likes the project, and every now and then he sends through someone who got excited about the project because he talked about it.
Exactly, and he's been, he's also going to events. He's been connecting. So he's just way more than a head of DeFi in the end, right? So it's not that, but I think that a team, because we are a small team in the end, it's what, 12 people plus some others outside, let's say, helping us from the outside. But in the end, the core is like, it's 12 people. So that's definitely not a big team. And I think everyone, if everyone brings even does something extra that's not maybe in their curriculum, that proves that we all have the kind of the same focus, the same vision, why we're doing this. We had Daniel Keynes join our team as head of risk, and I believe he brought a new dynamic into our line of thinking, as well in how we develop Ocean Point, for how this will evolve, but as well in just perception of what risk is, and perception that how risk needs to be managed, assessed, and why is it important. And the topic that sometimes you look, because you don't know it, at least I'm talking from my end, I don't know it as much in depth as he does. It's definitely something that you start seeing more and more the value of somebody who has so much broader understanding of the topic. And last but not least is Marco, one of our front end developers. He's a young lad. Actually worked with Edita on a project before in Web3. It was an e-signing project. Actually, it was the project that Dita and where Julia, Dita and I met in Zug at the competition. And Marco joined our team, and he's been a great addition to our developer team. Definitely brought new perspective. He's a very fast learner, and he's now a very valuable part of our team. So I hope this trend kind of continues then from this year to the next one.
Perfect.
I probably didn't answer like
70% I'll
of
throw in the rest of the other parts of it. One, I want to go to something, but I'll go to Julia with it, and then probably both of you, Dennis and Julia, would be able to tell us more about it, because I want to hit it on the head. There is many people who are in the space who want hype and who seek hype. And yes, we've chatted, Dennis, before about projects that don't even have technology and have hundreds of thousands of followers. Now, obviously, it's very easy to sometimes see the quality of followers whenever you have 100,000, 200,000 followers and no interaction. It means probably it costs you around $200 to get those 200,000 followers, which is not the ultimate way to build a project. Yet there's others who have genuine followers who interact and who do engage, however, are after the hype. Now, I will come back to that, but we want to answer today, why are we not targeting that? Why are we not doing it? Because it definitely will add few dimensions to what we do. It will definitely make it much easier to raise capital. It will definitely make it much easier to engage. It will make liquidity on the token higher. It will make all of those much more possible. It will make a SEX listing, CEX listing, mean more. It will make all of those happen in a different manner. So I want us to talk about this today, among other stuff that we will talk about. But I want to go back to you, Dennis, with the following. Define your feeling every day you wake up and every day you go to sleep with Blocksquare in the building. So what do you feel when that happens every day? And there's good days, there's tough days, but give us more on that.
Um, well, I joke sometimes that I'm really glad that I'm doing something that I really enjoy Mondays. So it's definitely not every Monday I enjoy because sometimes the plate is so full. But definitely, Blocksquare has been something in my head constantly for the past 4 years, even a bit more, because there was a period of time where the subconscious was processing something, um, and um, and I love to see it evolving, happening. Things, it might seem, baby steps or slow development sometimes, but there's a lot of things happening that people maybe don't see, or there's no results that you can see. But if I look at where we are today and where we were like 4 years ago, I think the milestones we achieved were huge because we're tackling a topic that nobody has cracked so far. We're not doing something that a company has done already and championed, and we're trying, to become something. No, we're working on a field that nobody in the world has cracked yet. So we're really, at the forefront of a new market. A lot of people have talked about it, and when you come and discuss things with others, oh yeah, we were thinking about real estate tokenization and how to go about it, and then they learn that we have a full-blown solution. Everything is ready. You can, really start doing it basically tomorrow. They're just amazed. They're like, where have you been? How come we haven't heard about this? And I think this is powerful. It's like if everybody
Let me
hears about you, it's you're already there. But here they're in that there's this discovery phase. It's exciting. So we're building up excitement by the way we're doing things, and not the other way around.
a question here. I used to train many brokers, and whenever I train brokers, I tell them target small successes in the beginning of your career. Do not target selling commercial buildings that are 100 million, 200 million, half a billion, or a billion, because those are long shots. It takes much longer to achieve on. And at the same time, not only does it take longer to achieve on, but also it takes longer to benefit from. It takes longer to start getting the reward of. So whenever we're doing something that is a long shot, usually you only do it after after a very long big track record, because in general, if you're doing things that are long shots, the frustration is generally bigger than the excitement most of the days. So we're doing something today that is a very long shot. Today it's less a long shot because things are happening in front of us, but 4 years ago it was a long shot, a very long shot. And and that is tough to manage. Do you still feel the same today within the past year, or no? Has that feeling of big frustration within your days uh, been lessened to a certain level where you feel now that we're in an industry that is fruitful today or tomorrow morning?
Um, I'm definitely more at peace, in a way, because when we started this, uh, I say, uh, uh, when you're discussing, when you're talking about this with others that maybe are in either the real estate industry, or at that time, well, the blockchain industry, the Web3 industry, what we call it today. Um, both sides were skeptic. Both sides were very skeptical. So there was literally nobody to talk this with. Um, and I think their Fibri, for instance, was an organization where the people that you could talk to happened, or we made it happen, and that was a good thing because you could make or start those conversations. Um, Today I'm more at peace because I know that we nailed it. I know that I'm, 100% positive that real estate tokenization is going to be huge, and that's much easier to say now because there's everybody saying it. It's not just a handful of people. But you're always nervous. The more time and effort you put into something, you're always nervous. Will you be able to have the perfect timing in terms of starting when this market takes off, or will you go into oblivion? And this is something that
Will you be able to reap the benefits of all the effort, time, and money that you've put in? Yeah.
exactly, because there's this obligation that's not just towards yourself, but towards all the people that put the same effort and this, they decided to join in this journey. So you need to be, kind of responsible towards everybody, and just being there and saying, "Oh, good morning," let's do the basic job, and that's it. It's not going to cut it. You need to think ahead. You need to make sure that things go forward, and if they don't, you need to put a lot of thought into how to change things so that the things keep on going, right? And that we don't miss our chance, because we've been doing this so that when real estate tokenization takes off, and I think it's going to take off like most things, first slow and then it's going to just explode. And when it explodes, we need to be the best equipped in the world to actually reap the benefits out of it. And that might mean a very stupid thing, like maybe an onboarding process somewhere. The bottleneck might be so non-trivial from technology perspective that we might never have even thought of it. That's gonna hold us back. And I don't want to be in a situation where that manifests. So I want to make sure that we don't have any bottleneck there. There will be some, obviously, but you don't want to have bottlenecks that you can't solve quickly.
Dennis, I'll come back to you for one learning that you've had last year, a major learning. But let me go to Julia now to talk about community. Tell us more, Julia, about our community building practices and what we don't practice in community building. And again, your view. And we have by the way, guys, everyone, please join our Discord, join our Telegram. Not that I'm the active member of the team there, but you have amazing members of the team who are putting so much effort there. Julia is always there. Tina is there. Sometimes Dennis also joins in and contributes. We want to inform you and every member of our community of everything that's taking place day by day, answer your questions, and hopefully take it forward with you to fruitfulness and bigger success. So, Julia, tell us more about that, and let's answer some of the questions that are difficult, that are usually asked, even if not voiced, and we would love to answer. Please.
Okay. Let's come back to the first question where you said, why is our community not hyped? I had that was quite an interesting example like a couple of months ago. I think it was someone went into our Telegram and he started to post all this like hype images, and he went like, come on guys, let's go to the moon. And someone of our community members basically answered with a slow down, mate, we're here for the long run. And that hype situation calmed down pretty quickly. So what works in this typical, I would say, NFT projects, for example, or the typical like hype projects, what we saw in the run, in the last run, where everyone jumps on it and all day long they're chatting about to the moon and where we're going next. But there's not really it's not really deep. it's not really deep conversations or something. But what you see in these Telegram channels and these Discord channels is all day long conversations. Hey mate, how are you? And you know, price predictions and all that stuff, and a lot of action. Now, I think what our community wants, and also the quality and the nature of our project, is that we have more, I would say, traditional investors, and more. I think the nature of our project is a different one. If we would copy what others are doing in NFT projects, for example, I think we probably would lose our long-term investors and supporters, and because they're with us because they look for quality and for something different in the real business. A lot of projects, they're getting started and they hire 20 chatters, and then of course there's all day long conversation and communications, but it's not real organic traffic necessarily. And that's exactly what you can see. And when the market crashes, as it happened, there used to be Discord communities with 70,000 members on it. Now, if you're looking in the liquidity or the trading volume of Bitcoin, is not much more than ours. So you know, only numbers on a Discord channel, for example, doesn't mean anything. That can be all created. That's not a problem, and it can be done very quickly in a couple of days, and you're there. But it doesn't mean that there's fake. That's a problem we are facing in our industry, that there's a lot of hype and there is a lot of fake. Even though we're working with a technology where we are trying to create transparency and trust through proof, but in the marketing side of things, there's still a lot that isn't real. And at the end of the day, it's like, you know, people chatting and people are investing into coins, and they don't even know in what they're investing in. And then it crashes, and then they're blaming their mates that they actually lost money because they listened to their advice. And I think this is something we would like to avoid. I think this is something where we can be different, because Blocksquare is a real business and has a tokenomics model where the more we grow the real estate side of things, the more impact there will be on the utility token by itself. So that's also a reason why we focused really a lot in this first year to onboard our first, how many have we now? 54 properties on Ocean Point, and really start growing that ecosystem of real estate, and not only growing the ecosystem of utility and BST token buyers, I would say. And also, I think when we're having marketing meetings and all of that, we're always saying, like, look, our business is the real estate business, so we really want to reach out to them and help them to understand what is Web3, and help them to understand how do you even, you know, create your first wallet. Like, what is cryptocurrency? What are asset tokens? You know, what are the differences? And is it all volatile, or what are stable coins? You know, there's a lot of work we have to get done at the foundation, because what I noticed as well is when people go out and they are, you know, promoting Blocksquare, for example, in other NFT projects, normally these people who are coming into our Discord and check it out, they do not understand it. And that's what we hear quite often, like, because they're coming in and it's like the nature is so different that it's much more than, you know, buying an image or buying so they understand very easily, okay, if I have this and this NFT, that will give me access to, you know, ticket sales or events or whatsoever. But if they're coming into Blocksquare, they're finding a really big project that is really trying to do something that hasn't been done before. And also it changes a bit the nature of DeFi as well, because now all of a sudden we have a DeFi economy that's backed by a real world real estate economy, basically. That's what we're working towards to. And while all of this makes a lot of sense, in the first, it's a different look and feel than what the used to in that space. But what we noticed is when people really take the time to really get their head around and really start learning about what we're doing, we're in general getting really, really good feedback. And I think it's really a matter of time to keep spreading the word and be consistent in what we're doing. And, do it on a daily basis and keep creating content, keep educating with the blog chats and everything that's coming together, because that's quite solid. I think in the new year, like what we're definitely aiming for is that we are ready when we see the traction for in the entire I would say blockchain and crypto space going up again, and the feedback what I had going to the different conventions and joining all these different webinars and so on. The trends for the new years is where everyone was saying is basically it's going to be metaverse, it's going to be asset tokenization and infrastructures. And I think this is where we are quite lucky, because we have really good product that is ready for the market, that we now where now it seems the right time is coming, and we can start pushing it out. We have been really early, and I mean 2018, talking about real estate tokenization until now, it's been very, very early, and it seems now we're going to find more traction, because the market is getting now where we need it to be.
Dennis, you're learning from last year. So one learning that is major within last year.
I think one of the main learnings is that building up a company and building up a DAO, there's a difference between the two. The main difference is how to engage people, or how to get people to collaborate on the same goal. I think it's different. It's different. There's a difference between, obviously, building a team and hiring a team. And we've tried both, or we've done both, not just with Blocksquare. Obviously, we've done the building up a decentralized team but with company building, I have the experience of hiring people more, and the interactions you have are way more meaningful when you're building up a DAO. It's really a mission-based organization, and I think this is kind of my learning, I would say, from this year is, don't build a company, build a DAO. It's like the fundamentals of how that happens, and this is just basically my personal learning, because when you're obviously building something, you tend sometimes to forget what you're doing, and you then in the mess of everything that you do, you sometimes go in one direction. You take it what's close to you, what you know from past experience, right? And then you go that route and you make that mistake. And thankfully, the mistake I made is actually nobody probably knows about it, or maybe you guys know about it. But it's basically, don't do that. Don't do that. It was a very not expensive, very cheaply acquired learning piece of knowledge at a low cost, let's say. But I learned that how I need to build the team around Blocksquare, and I'm sticking to that 100%. Not going away from it anymore, ever.
Do you think DAOs are the future?
I'm not saying DAOs are the future, but I like to believe that the economy will have way more DAOs than we think, just because of how people are built. We as people, we need to have a sense of purpose in this world, and going to work every day for doing a job might be sometimes great, if and sometimes it just might be empty. And I see that companies are creating empty people. That's like in a philosophical sense. I'm not saying that that's always the case, but I think that people in general need to have more purpose, and I think DAOs are able, as a structure, to offer purpose to people, and hopefully they will become much more powerful in time. They are already, but even more so as a standard of how people like to engage when they're considering where to put their time and expertise in.
So, Dennis, you had a view on Julia's question, which is community and centralized exchanges. Why are we building it in a certain way? Why is BST not on a centralized exchange? And that is important. Would you be able to give us more on it, please?
Well, why is it not on a centralized exchange? Listing a token on a centralized exchange is a cost, and at the moment, I honestly don't see my in my perspective, it doesn't bring that much value. Anybody can actually acquire BST if they put 15 minutes of effort in. So I don't see it as a big deal. I don't also see that a centralized exchange would increase accessibility it would increase maybe accessibility or ease of trading, but it would not create ease of access. And right now we're in a building phase, where our stance as the core team, I believe, it's an accumulation phase. And to accumulate a centralized exchange, it might do well if it has a great community, a big community. But the exchanges that we're talking with right now are mainly exchanges that want our community to become their community. And going to a tier 3 centralized exchange would basically put our community at risk, maybe, because these exchanges not necessarily are the most. And even if you go to the top 5, we've learned this year what can happen, right? So who is trustworthy? I have no clue. I don't know who's trustworthy, which exchange is doing things properly. But I would really hate it if 10 people from our community would get scammed over because of a decision we made to collaborate with the centralized exchange that we were not able to really fully vet. So how we engage with exchanges right now, it's more at par than what these exchanges usually would like us to engage with. So we want to have much more liabilities, I would say, handled by the exchange itself and not just us. Because
And in general, I say, in the lack of a process, everything you do with a company is betting on a human being. So if a company fails today and there's no process, most of the time, if you've put your money in that company, you've bet on a single individual or a set of individuals where no process is present, accountability probably is very low, and the ability to identify risks is not present, not there. One of the things that Daniel, for example, have added to our process, it was available, but definitely Daniel is a professional doing that, came and made it at a totally different level. Today, I believe we have a very vigorous risk assessment and module assessment process and module. In the lack of this, and a process to an exchange today is partly regulation. So legislators need to come in, exchanges need to also take steps in that aspect. And although some exchanges are putting steps out there and trying to prove that we're different, and we're still so far away from a process-driven organization that you can today equate with a similar to a conventional organization, similar to a bank. So with a bank, it's centralized, yes. However, there is sets of processes and accountability platforms and methods and regulation that not eliminates totally, but lessens the possibility of you being scammed. In organizations that are centralized, you need that. So we're getting there hopefully very soon, and the whole scene is changing. Guys, we've already gone. We decided not to go beyond 40 minutes, but this session is an exception. So let's continue forward with two more things. First, I believe we had a pleasant year that have passed. Many achievements, I believe, as a team, as an organization, we have matured at a different level the past year. At the same time, our pipeline is very healthy. Our pipeline on two ends, our property tokenization pipeline and interest. At the same time, our marketplace and partnership pipeline, as well as we're going soon, and this is now we'll talk about next year and what's coming. We're going soon to venture probably into several parts of the market within the coming year. Maybe we'll be looking at some funding and other stuff that Denis and Julia will definitely talk about now. What I want to tell you is our learnings of the past year were a validation in general, or most of our learnings were a validation of what we're doing and how we're doing it. We're not happy if something falls apart, like the organizations and the tokens that have fell apart over the past year. However, everything that have taken place, and yes, we've done some good things, some right things, some mistakes that we've learned from, we've corrected. However, it proved that what we were doing was right. And the higher you go, the faster you go. With a hollow soul, the faster you drop and the harsher it is. And that is the same with everyone, and with every business and with every industry. And I always say, if something have grown and been blown up very fast, in general, the drop will not be logical, will be beyond non-logical. Why? Because what happens is the drive down is without confidence. Members of a community, holders of an investment, investors in an industry, investors in a market will not have confidence, because the minute that they were buying just because there is a theory of the bigger fool, the person who would buy after them. I bought, it will go up, I will sell, and on we go. The minute that that theory is eliminated, that theory disappears, everything falls and crumples. And that's why some organizations fail, although they may have some merit, but they haven't built on the merit. We are building purely on merit. Everything, and companies and institutions and VCs look at us today and say, guys, you're way undervalued. If we look at your token value, you're way undervalued. Yes, we are, because this is not how we've built. Now, how will we tackle that the coming year? Let's listen to Julia first and Denis, and how will we build for 2023 and beyond? Julia, what are three things, please, that you think we are gonna do in marketing and community building over the coming year that you believe would create a good impact and impact on our community, impact on our project, at the same time contribute to the roadmap that we have?
Okay, so I believe that you mentioned quickly that we're gonna go for some funding, like maybe a small route. If we have something like that in place, then we basically can get ready for the next run, which is coming. So Dennis and I, we had a long conversation about that the other day, and we said something that we really want to really push in the coming year is definitely PR. So we want to have much more media presence than we have now, and really increase the awareness for what we are actually doing based on public relations and media appearance. I think that's a really important step that we have to take in the coming year, because we haven't done that yet, even though we have already good awareness and special circles out there through really good partnerships, and partnerships is the next thing. I think this is going to be, especially in the first half of the year, as well as keep pushing the partnerships. Like this year, we had 4 partnerships with Dua, with the Graph, with Nia, with Flux. Like we have some amazing brands basically in our network, and we started to build up certified partners, which is even the most important side for our ecosystem as well. So we're going to see Brick Trade launching soon in the UK. We have a couple of new certified partners which we haven't even announced yet. So there's a lot coming soon. Hopefully we can announce, and all of this is contributing to a much broader network, and proof that our technology is actually used out there, and we are communicating, and we are out there basically, and we're not only producing. I think that is definitely a super important fact that we're building that out, but also really focus more on the engagement side of things. Not only bringing people into the community, also creating activities for them, so they're actually engaging with us, and they're actually coming in, and they have a reason to check in every day, because it's the same like creating an app. We can create the most amazing app in the world. If we have only one-time users, that's not bringing it. We need to create the engagement, and I call it the dopamine loop, as we call it in the app creation world, that they're coming back and they're feeling happy to be with us.
Julia, perfect. That's always encouraging to hear Julia, by the way, guys, because Julia is someone who has a very positive view on the whole industry. At the same time, she comes from a marketing aspect, as well as she loves tech, and she's an advocate of tech, sometimes aggressively even. So it's always positive to hear Julia. Dennis, roadmap, what's coming? People are waiting to see what is going to happen next year with legislation. There's many parts of the world where legislation is at the brink of becoming meaningful enough for organizations like ours, and for our technology, and for tokenization of assets in general, as well as real estate specifically. What's coming 2023 in your eyes?
I think it's the main thing that's coming in from. I'm going to talk about Blocksquare's perspective. I really don't want to go into the macro, because that's kind of a general thing. From Blocksquare's perspective, I think we want to double the amount of marketplaces that are operating and being powered by Blocksquare. I think that's a goal for next year for sure. Another thing we need to double, I think the goal is to double the assets under tokenization we've achieved to kind of support our growth as well. So we're now at something below 50 million. I know we had a goal to hit the 50 million. We didn't hit it because of as well some due diligence processes that sometimes slow down the process, and some property owners then stop engaging, especially with the FTX. In the market, it happened. As happened also some distrust. So this is also things that you can't really fight with, and there's no sense in doing it, right? In losing time with people that don't necessarily understand the underlying and what's the value that it's bringing. So that's fine. Um, and I think this is something that we are able to achieve organically. What I said, I don't think this is unattainable goals. Uh, Another thing that I'm really excited about is as well the next phase of or the next iteration of Ocean Point in terms of product. I think that's going to bring a lot of new ways to engage the Web3 community, not just for the utility of BST and liquidity of BST, but there's other ways of how we can use 0.3 to bring our partners in with our set of functionalities. The timing for every product launch needs to be right. So we've been delaying this for obvious reasons. And I hope that in the next couple of, maybe 2 months, the timing in the market is going to be right for us to launch version 0.3. So that's for Ocean Point. I'm really excited about something we called neo brokerages, and we're going to talk about this in one of our future block chats next year, and how that brings value to the whole ecosystem that we've built, and it potentially can really create a very big impact for marketplace operators, and how I would say the benefits they can get out of this new product that addresses the market of influencers, basically, in the World Wide Web.
And engages at the same time, engages brokers, engages everyone. So technology does not need to eliminate the job of anyone. It just needs to make it better. And in our
Exactly.
opinion, it makes it easier to achieve and much more efficient. And that's including everyone. So whoever tells you technology will make your job obsolete, tell him technology will change how my job will look like, generally to the better, if people behind the technology are thinking about the future with me in mind. So and we're doing that here. So that's something that we're doing, and we're not only doing it to benefit brokers, we're doing it because it benefits technology and benefits the use cases of technology, isn't it?
Exactly, and it really becomes a very powerful tool for anybody opening up a marketplace. It serves the purpose or to solve a big pain point for new marketplace operators that they encounter, right? And solves community building for them. So this is things that I'm practically kind of really I see 2023 on our roadmap, and I think it's enough on our plate there, from that perspective. I also hoped we were going to have an investor that shares our common vision join us in this journey. So this is also something that we've been working on for quite some time. It's not something. It's something that we've been preparing relationships with different investors, and creating the right timing. And I believe next year is the perfect timing for our first major founding round to actually be executed. If we look at what we've achieved with 500,000 of outside funding plus internal resources that were pulled together, and where we are today. And I'm saying this with a 4-year track record. I believe the next funding round is really or the first outside funding round in a way. It's something that we are really ready for. And here, I think timing wise, a lot of times people say, why now? And I think it's quite obvious why now. I think we have a market that is from a real market that has so many challenges around. We have a Web3 market that is a bit empty at the moment, or feels a bit empty, and it's looking for the next big thing. And there's rumors around, chit chats of something called tokenization of illiquid assets. There's even some big names that make projections and that make projected analysis of how this market is going to grow to support the thesis. We have an amazing set of products and basically a whole infrastructure ecosystem that is being utilized and has brought a certain value of real estate to it, and drawn a certain amount of people in the community that are actively involved. So it's much more than a team of 12, as I mentioned, but I think we're much stronger than we maybe even think. And I think this whole kind of, if you top it up with recent layoffs in Web 2 and Web 3, I think there's an opportunity to build such an amazing team, to have amazing people, very knowledgeable people join us in this quest. And I think this is kind of then all packed together in at the right time. I think it's an inevitable future, I would say.
Do you have any last messages? It seems that Julia is having difficulty with the voice. Yeah. Can you still hear us? Would you be able to send your last message? From my side, it's Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to everyone in the world, guys. We wish you the best time to build is winter. And this winter, probably, we will be the biggest builders. Enjoy your New Year. Christmas have just passed. Have fun over the holidays, and hopefully we'll see you next year with so much of progress. I will leave the last word to Julia and then to Denis, and we take it from there. Julia, your last words, please, to our community and beyond.
Yeah, I wanted to thank everyone for being part of Blocksquare, and we all, of course, are very grateful for your support, and let's make it big next year, hopefully.
Thank you, Julia. Denis?
Everybody involved in what we're doing for the past 4 years, who were involved or are still involved, thank you for being there. I hope you'll have great holidays, celebration of the year 2023, so of New Year's, and everybody who's really pushing the boundaries of either on the front of building our community, getting other people involved, helping us understand the core team surrounding the project, everybody around that as well, our advisors, investors, everybody who's watching. Thank you so much, because this is built by us, for us, right? And I believe right now there's a lot of people around who are contemplating what 2020 might bring, and how they might engage in this if they haven't yet. And I believe Blocksquare is a good way to come into real estate tokenization and experience it. Whether you're a marketplace builder or an influencer or just a regular guy or lady who would like to get involved in the real estate business and would like to do that in a form that is future proof. So
Then,
that's it.
Dennis, what block chat is it now? 39.
I think it's Blockchat 39. Yeah.
This is
And it,
crazy, guys. I've never imagined that we would still be running, and now I see that we will be still running probably at 100. It's really, really. I've never imagined that we would be able to run this far. Week after week, it's been challenging but interesting. Thank you all, Dennis, Julia, and everyone part of Blocksquare's team. Thank you all for being the great team you are. We love you all, and we love all the community members who are really the power behind all our excitement and every single achievement and every single progress. You push us forward. Challenge, yes, definitely challenge every idea that we have, and support the ideas that you see. Right, we believe in this as a future that will empower everyone and will make them part of a beloved asset class that is currently only owned and controlled by the few. We imagine a future where everyone is a property owner, and we want you all to become landlords. Another block chat, this time with Dennis, Julia, and Makram. Thank you for being part of Block Square. Have a good time.